We've got loose ends to tie from Sunday. Plenty of your thoughts on Tom Izzo. Is he staying? Is he going? Is this stretch worse than the Middle Tennessee State loss? And then in segments 2 and 3, we're going to talk a winning program here. We have Jeremy Dewar of Spartans Illustrated on to talk hockey. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below on YouTube, or also reach out to us at lockedonspartans@gmail.com. Now, we've talked throughout the season that, hey, there might be an apathy amongst the fan base when it comes to this basketball team. By and large, the healthy portion of this fan base that doesn't let college sports affect their day-to-day lives, they kind of have moved on. You know, they're not really all tied up in the basketball team, but oh boy, howdy. For those that are still in the trenches, folks like me, folks like you that still watch every single game and let this team rile you up, the emotions are whatever the opposite of apathetic is. People are fired up because our inbox, again, at lockedonspartans@gmail.com, has never been more full than after that game on Sunday. So yes, we'll get to hockey in segments 2 and 3. It's kind of a sleepy time for football right now, although we will say this, Nick Samek, he's the only Spartan down in Indianapolis right now for the NFL Combine. Good luck to him. But yeah, we'll get more into football a little bit tomorrow, but we've got some loose ends to tie up here with basketball. So Bob from Virginia will be batting first here. Now, we're not going to go through every email, but a lot of you had the same theme. And, well, all of you had the theme of anger, which I totally mirror. I'm with all of you guys. So Bob from Virginia writes in, Hall of Famer Tom Izzo got taken to school by an interim coach. What would he have to say to AJ if he got taken to school and burnt by a backup freshman point guard? Tom is playing checkers while the young good coaches of today are playing chess. It's time to say it. And remember, I'm a 45-year Spartan fan and 45-year Patriot fan. Tom has officially pulled a Bill Belichick, and it's time. Now, I know that Bob wasn't specifically talking about AJ and saying that he played bad or anything, but when he wrote about AJ and used the comparison that, yes, Tom getting beaten by Jake Diebler is the same thing as your point guard getting beaten by some backup freshman point guard, that got me thinking, like, yeah, there's 217 things that really upset me about Sunday's game, and one of them is the fact that we couldn't talk about the good performances of Sunday's game, like the Xavier Booker game, like we all saw. Really strong first start for the kid. Also, AJ Hoggard, he had a great game defensively. Offensively, he had a fine game. 9 points, few assists, only 1 turnover. But defensively, he put the clamps on Bruce Thornton. He held him to 4 of 13 shooting, 3 turnovers, which, by the way, for Bruce Thornton is his worst shooting percentage-wise in a month, and also just the 3rd game of the season with 3 turnovers. I was very fortunate to be at the game. Pretty decent seats, decent enough to see and hear at times AJ Hoggard just getting in Bruce Thornton's grill, both defensively and verbally. What happened last year at the Big Ten tournament fired up AJ enough to have him play lockdown defense, but it didn't matter because there are far other issues to talk about. So just had to throw that in. Now we're going to go along to the fire Izzo crowd here, or the, hey, someone has to have a talk with Izzo and push him into retirement, because guys, I get it. I'm not having fun whatsoever. I had some very mean things to say about Tom Izzo on Sunday. I compared him to Jim Boeheim, and I may or may not have compared the end of his career to the end of my childhood dog's life. It was a very grim episode on Sunday. I'm very upset like the rest of you guys are, but let's just talk real to each other right now. Let's talk like adults to one another. He ain't getting fired, guys. Okay, he's going to go out on his own accord, and no one, not only will he not be fired, I have a very hard time believing that anyone is going to sit him down and say, hey, Tom, it's time to enjoy your retirement. Go enjoy some of your lake house in Grand Haven. Go enjoy the golf courses of this beautiful state. No one's actually going to do that, guys. So yes, well, I am upset. I'm also still not even in that corner yet that he should step away. Now, why am I giving it one more season before I am in the corner of, well, he has to retire now? Well, 2 reasons. One, he is owed it. whether that is for better or for worse, whether that's right or wrong, that's up for you guys to decide. But 2.5 decades at one place with a storied history, you're kind of owed to go out on your own terms. Now, this is not me saying that, hey, just because he went to Final Fours back in the day, that we should all be grateful and happy for him. Far from the truth, but due diligence does go a long way. And the second reason why I'm giving it one more season is, hey, maybe it's the Stockholm Syndrome kicking in, and I've accepted reality that he's probably not going anywhere, and certainly no one's going to tell him where to go. So I want to see one more offseason to see what will happen. And I'll tell you this, just like you guys out there, we are asking a lot here. We are asking for a assistant coach shuffle. Okay, no more late staged Antonio years where we are just keeping our friends along that aren't developing people, that aren't picking up their part of the work. Kind of like how, hey, Doug Wojcik, it seems to be that he's in charge of the lineups somehow, even though the players cross Tom Izzo's face every time they go to the scores table. But I digress. There's not a lot of development with these players, and, well, the game day assignments seem to not be adding up here. We also want to see a big man added to this team, one that's just adequate. And let's say if Jaden Akins moves on, well, you got to get a day one starting wing in here. I know that's hard. I know it's asking a lot. And I know it's so easy to say, oh, just get a center. Oh, just get a wing that can shoot 42%. Obviously, those are still hard players to get, but you are Michigan State. The NIL is still some of the most aggressive that you will find in the nation, specifically in basketball too. Make it happen. Make it happen. Do not have another offseason where we're just sitting on our hands and saying, the culture, don't want to screw that up. No. We got to see some shakeups here. Now, if none of that happens, oh boy, it might not even be until the ball tips off next season that I'm already on the side of he has to step away. But yeah, just wanted to weigh in my 2 cents on the, Tom needs to go. Like, no, I'm very upset, but I will give him one more offseason to make things right. Now, Derek writes in, this is about the tournament here. Actually, he had a few comments. We're going to break this up one by one here and go through Derek's whole email. Derek wrote in to start off, before tonight, I was 50-50 on if we'd make the tournament, and after tonight, I'm 100% sure we won't make it. Obviously, the tournament is a concern for a lot of folks out there. I reached out to Joe Cook-Sugart of 131 Sports. You've heard me talk about him a lot on this podcast. He's one of the best bracketologists in the nation. I bounced a take off him. I said, hey, can you temperature check this for me? I said, if MSU wins 2 games between now and the end of the Big Ten tournament, they will more than likely be in. Do you think that's fair or foul? He wrote in, one of the top bracketologists out there, he wrote in, I think that's fair. Aggressive, but fair. I would say the worst cases for that would be to lose all 3 remaining regular season games and then win 2 games before losing in the Big Ten tournament. But all the most likely 2 and 3 finish scenarios would probably have them on the 10-11 line and with a 50% or better chance of being called on Selection Sunday. So, again, that's just the opinion of one bracketologist, albeit, again, I'll keep pumping this guy up. One of the best in the country. So I know it looks bleak. I know these last 2 losses have been horrible. But guys, Michigan State is still on the right side of the bubble, even after a loss this weekend against Purdue. They could still probably go 1-1 in this stretch against Northwestern on Boo Booey's senior night, and then at Indiana. And then if they win the first Big Ten tournament game, I'm not saying it's a lock. It is not a lock, but things would probably still look okay. So if the tournament is something of your concern, just wanted to add some clarity there. Now, more of Derek's email. With that hopefully outrageous take out of the way. It wasn't that outrageous because, of course, they could lose the rest of their games too. Is this loss worse than the Middle Tennessee State tournament loss? The 2015 team had at least was entertaining with NBA talent. This squad seems to have lost all motivation. Do they even care about the streak? Did this loss just let all the air out of the tournament balloon? I will say this, and we'll combine the last 2 games. It's not worse than the Middle Tennessee State loss. Like, nothing is going to be as bad as a season-ending definitive loss, especially when the team is just that good. However, I'll say this, it is more unexplainable than the Middle Tennessee State loss, which might just make it more aggravating for us fans because Middle Tennessee State shot the lights out. Okay, like they shot 57% from three-point land. We also had a point guard that game that had 6 turnovers. But you know what? After a player of the year season, I know it's not easy to do, but you can understandably give him a pass for one bad game. But it was more so Middle Tennessee State just played good. And sure, Iowa played okay, but we also got some duds out of players that really haven't been showing up all year. Or even worse, The Ohio State game, it's not like the Buckeyes played good. It's not like they played adequate. Michigan State just played that horrendous down the stretch, and that is what drives you crazy, is that after a no-show against Iowa, you still find a way to lose against a substitute teacher, coaching a team that doesn't have their second best player. It is the most aggravating week of Michigan State basketball that I can ever remember. All right, and that's not to say we've never had bad losses or bad upsets, but back-to-back games with senior leadership disappearing for one game, and then your Hall of Fame head coach going just gong show in the last few minutes of the game, that combined makes for a nasty, nasty cocktail. So that's where we're at with all that. Really quick here, Derek also writes in, now hear me out. If we don't make the tournament, I'm saying right now that I probably won't watch any March Madness. I did the same thing in 2016 after the Middle Tennessee State game. I didn't watch a second of the tournament the rest of the way. Now, when I find myself tuning into the first game with the Spartans already focused on their NIT opponent, I'm curious, who should we be rooting for? Do we root for Purdue or another Big Ten squad to finally win a ship for the conference? UConn for a repeat, or all the underdogs? My grandmother could be playing for Purdue or another Big Ten team. I will not root for another Big Ten team to win the national title. I'm not one of those conference guys that just wants to see the conference on top. I want to see Michigan State on top. Hard stop at that. So, no, I don't really care to see UConn repeat. I'll just root for, just chaos and the upsets and the underdogs, as I probably don't watch March Madness because I'll be too much of a whiny child to tune into March Madness if my team is not in it. All right, guys, we'll be talking hockey here in a little bit with Jeremy Dewar of Spartans Illustrated. But first, you need to talk your ears off about the Gametime app, the greatest ticketing app out there, not just for sporting events. Let's say you're sick of sports at this point. Use it for concerts. Use it for comedy shows, theatrical performances. If there's a ticket to the event, Gametime has got you covered. Now, let's say that you just want to plan during the week, right? You know you're going to go to the event on Sunday, and it's Tuesday or Wednesday. Check out throughout the week the Gametime app. They'll have their flash deals, incredible deals on tickets. Or if you're a procrastinator and you don't even have the tickets as you're walking up to the stadium, go ahead and check out their last-minute deals. And they don't just end when the game starts. They go on until an hour after the puck drops, after the ball's tipped, the ball's kicked off. Gametime wants to save you money around the clock. And, well, hey, just save money when you sign up, too. When you use code LOCKEDON, all one word, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. That's right. Download Gametime today. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. I'll say that one more time, gang. Download Gametime today. Use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. It's last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. All right, let's mix it up. Let's talk about a program that actually likes to win some things. We are going to talk Michigan State hockey with our hockey correspondent, Jeremy Dewar of Spartans Illustrated, always doing fantastic work over there. Jeremy, how we doing, man? We doing okay over there?
Yeah, I'm. Last time you had me on, you made me give you a confidence meter, and I said 8, and I was really worried that maybe about midnight Friday night, I was like, that clip is going to come back to haunt me. But no, I feel good. I'm just going to ride it out. We're at the table. You ride it out,
Yep, and so over the weekend, I mean, of course, if you're dialing the hockey, you know what happened. Michigan State, they split against Ohio State. Wisconsin, they were able to get some points, but not all the points over at Penn State. So right now, Michigan State goes into their final weekend in Madison with a 2-point Big Ten lead. I want to reiterate that, a 2-point lead. On yesterday's show, I accidentally slipped and said 4-point lead. I'm sorry about that, but 2-point lead. Jeremy, point blank, man. How are we feeling? I know that's a very broad and lazy question, but really, I mean, Wisconsin, that's a damn good team over there. It's on the road, but hey, you know what? This team over here in East Lansing, not too bad themselves. Are we feeling okay right now? Are we doing okay?
Yeah, I mean, you need 2 points this weekend to get the number 1 seed, and you need 3 points to wrap it up so you don't share a title. So, I mean, I feel pretty good. Like, we haven't played that great, but either as Wisconsin, they got swept by Ohio State. They didn't take all their 6 points from Penn State. Got an overtime win to get 2 on Saturday. So, and combine that with I've kind of been a hater on Wisconsin all year that I don't know. I feel good to just go in and just say, like, if you can get the win Friday night, you just wrap it up. Like, that's the easiest way for me to approach it is, like, I assume for these guys all week, it's just if you go in Friday and you just win in regulation, you end it. You don't have to worry about any, like, doing math or any outcome of Saturday. You can just go in You control your own destiny. And that's what I think I enjoyed the most last week. It was like, no matter what happened, like you control your own destiny. Because even if we got swept by Ohio State, you can go sweep Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So you control it the whole time. So it's just, don't give that up. Just win Friday and end it. And then you can come back Saturday and just play for pride Saturday. But
this is not a math podcast. So yeah, if they can just take care of business the old easy way on Friday on Big Ten Plus, we'll get to that later. That'd be great if they could just get it out of the way. So noted Badger hockey hater, Jeremy Dewar. Why? Like, is it just because they just rub you the wrong way, kind of the same way that just Michigan in any walk of life rubs me the wrong way? Or do you see their high ranking and it just doesn't match what you're seeing? Like, is it more of a fraud watch thing for you?
No, I wouldn't say it's quite fraud watch. I will say that, like, when you play a conference that only has 6 other teams, like, I definitively hate every other.
Sure.
Like, there's Michigan that's on their own level, but, like, I rail against and hate Penn State hockey, and they haven't even existed most of my life.
Right.
So
Right.
I definitely hate these teams more than maybe I do in the other sports. So, it's a little bit of that, and like a little bit left over from, I just thought they were so awful under their previous coach that I loved. It was kind of a meme to go after them, but also they're just so boring. Like, they play an aggressively defensive style. They don't really blow you off the ice. So, like, for me, when I look at like the talent on our team versus most of the talent on their team, which was playing last season at Mankato State, like, I'm kind of shocked they've been able to pull this together the way they have. Like, huge credit to their coaching staff, but they don't really like scare me yet as a machine of, like, he hasn't been recruiting at a Wisconsin level. He's brought Mankato guys who play his system, and they just, they strangle the life out of the game basically. And that doesn't frighten me, I guess. Like, they could still sweep us, but I don't go into a weekend being like, I'm afraid that we're going to not score 3 goals basically.
Now, last time these two teams met was in November. That might as well have been 5 years ago at this point. Michigan State did do the home sweep. They won 4-2 and then 3-2. But again, so much season has happened ever since then, Jeremy. What has Michigan State improved upon since the last meeting that they could bring to the Badgers here?
I think overall their discipline has been better. They're still one of the most penalized teams in the country.
Oh yeah.
You have like 100 penalty minute game against Michigan. That'll kind of put your stats up there. So, I think overall discipline has been better. Trey Augustine is much better. He definitely took some time to adjust to the college game, and the first few months of the season, like, was still good. Like, don't get me wrong, he was good, but I think him going to the World Junior and winning gold there, he's just come back like a different kid than he was in the first half of the season. Kind of that old adage they always say about, like, basketball players are sophomores by the NCAA tournament. Kind of feels like that applies to Trey. Like, at this point, he's almost started 30-something games plus the World Juniors. Like, he's a sophomore in all essence. So, so I think, Trey's much better. I think their discipline is better. They've had some things that they maybe regressed on, but those two are what I say are going better.
And looking ahead to this weekend, I know we got a few days, obviously, until the puck drops here in Madison. What is the biggest key to the game here? What's just the one thing that you're going to focus on the most, being like, this above anything else could make or break our Spartans here?
I mean, I think, both games in November, they scored first. They never trailed to Wisconsin the whole time. And when you're playing a team that strangles the life out of the game, you really cannot afford to go down. I mean, 1-0, whatever, 1 goal difference is fine. But if you let them get up on you 2-0, 3-0, and you're chasing the game, like, they are just going to sit in the most offensive shell you've ever seen, and it's going to be hard to break through that. And it kind of plays the game to what they want it to be. So I think a quick start would be great. Like, get the lead and just hold it versus having to chase the game. Because on the flip side, that's not their specialty to chase a game. Like, they don't want to be in a wide open game because that's where mistakes get done for them. So I think that's the biggest thing. That's what they did in November. Like, they scored first period goals each night and just never trailed. So if they can do that again, that's kind of a recipe for success.
More to come with Jeremy Dewar of Spartans Illustrated, but first, FanDuel, folks. You need to talk your ear off about the number one sports book in the land. Now, if this hockey talk has got you fired up for our icy Spartans, don't just sit there and think that you can't bet on them. No. You can bet on our Spartans to win the national championship in ice hockey at 11-1 odds over at FanDuel. 11-1. That's the 6th best odds in the nation. So, yeah, if you're fired up by the last few minutes, or if you're going to get fired up by still what's to come with this conversation, go ahead, put the money where that green and white mouth is, and bet on our Spartans over at FanDuel, America's number one sports book. And if you're a new customer, it gets even sweeter for you because new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That is $150 if your team wins. Or, hey, let's say you're not into hockey, you're more into the NBA. Well, you can bet on all your favorite NBA players this season with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and shoot your shot. It's FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. And just taking it away from the games themselves, I mean, just as a broad whole season storyline here, senior night wraps up over the weekend, obviously packed. If you looked at the ticket prices on the secondary market, like that was the hottest ticket in town in East Lansing, was just for this doubleheader against Ohio State. Just the whole season, just like how special was it to have the Magic back at Munn? Just go ahead and wax poetically on that, Jeremy, because what a special year under Adam Landale here.
It has been. I don't know if it's even hit me yet. Like I can fully enjoy it. Just like I've been enjoying it, but like I don't think the magnitude is hit yet. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of, I think for me, it'll hit probably that Thursday or Friday when you fire up ESPNU and you're watching an NCAA game and they're finally in the tournament again. Like that's when it will hit for me. Because even these next few weeks, even hosting, obviously this will be the first time they ever host a playoff series or a playoff game in the Big Ten. And they have the chance to host all the way through a championship game, which, I mean, the championship game would be at Munn. Like, can you imagine, like, the cost of those, right? So I think it hasn't really hit me yet that it does because, like, even we've had some seasons where they were, like, okay. Like, they had that weird season that they were second place in the league. And
sure.
In a down league, but they didn't make the NCAA tournament, but they were playing Minnesota in the last couple weeks of the season to possibly win a championship, right? Like, they've had little blips. So I think it hasn't really hit yet. Because it's just been every week after week. It's just kind of, you just build on it. But yeah, given the time to reflect there before the NCAA tournament, that's going to be when it probably hits me that, like, oh my God, they're going to play the NCAAs again.
Now let's wipe that smile off your face because the next topic here is, hey, naturally when it's just two teams directly competing against each other for the Big Ten regular season title. Naturally, no, we're not going to put it on Big Ten Network. No. We're going to put both games on Big Ten Network Plus. And I went ahead and looked at the schedule. Like, what are they airing on Big Ten Network? Is it a basketball game? Because, okay, fine, I get it. Basketball might take some precedence. No, it's just Michigan versus Minnesota hockey instead. Two teams that are irrelevant in the Big Ten title chase. So good on you, Big Ten Network. Way to go. So my question, Jeremy, is that whoever makes this decision, 15 to life in jail, or like what's an appropriate punishment? I get it that it's just like $10 or $15, but look, we're all not made of money over here, and it's just the principle of having to pay a little extra to get a Big Ten clinching series on an app that works on a good day, So it just.
Yeah. So here's the thing that I think gets me the most. Like, we've had flex scheduling in the NFL for like 2 decades now?
Forever.
Yeah. Like I get it. Preseason, these two teams finished 7th and 6th last year. Well, not 7th and 6th, but they finished towards the bottom. Wisconsin was at the very bottom last year. So preseason, you're thinking Minnesota, Michigan is probably the one that maybe there's a title on the line, not to mention the fact that it's just two top teams playing.
Yep.
So you can preseason kind of line up your schedule saying that's what we're going to do. That's going to be the Big Ten game that weekend. Okay, you're a huge conference. You can do flex scheduling and flex things out and move that over to the Big Ten Plus and put the one that's actually going to decide your championship on Big Ten Network. So I don't know, man. I got like a little bit of hope that maybe I haven't even checked the Pistons or Red Wings schedule to see what Bally's could possibly do, because usually these games are on Bally's, Wisconsin. Because again, this is also a unique problem to be an MSU fan or a Michigan fan, is that Minnesota and Wisconsin, they don't even have to rely on Big Ten Network. Their Bally's puts them on. So you're on Bally's. I think it's Bally's North for Minnesota and Bally's Wisconsin for Wisconsin. So they don't have to rely on the Big Ten so much. So it'd be nice if we had a competent Bally's Detroit or something to pick us up occasionally. But yeah, man, I'm hoping for some news this week, but I'm not really holding my breath. It's probably going to be on Big Ten Plus, but hopefully an okay product. This is also why I made fun of people that were complaining that they had to pay for Peacock, like when we played Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that's still a much better product than you have to pay for Big Ten Plus, and you get camera angles that don't follow the puck 70% of the time. So.
Why is that important in a hockey broadcast?
No. And you should also have broadcasters that definitely don't know what the ref is reviewing every single time. I think that's really educational. I think that pulls fans in. And he's not announcing it to the rink. It's not said. Oh, my God. They caught me on that week.
Banner product. For full transparency, we are recording on Monday right now. So if anything changes, which odds are it probably won't, but then we'll look stupid for the last 2 minutes. And you know what? I hope we look stupid because I would like crazy. Get ready for this take. I'd rather have more people be able to watch a Big Ten clincher than wouldn't, because again, we're all Spartan fans. We root for all Spartan teams, but I don't know how many people are going to pay the $10 to watch this weekend. Whereas if it's on Big Ten Network, it's going to be a healthy viewership number over here in East Lansing. But
I'm hoping. I know. Sorry. I'll put a little plug in here. I know the Blue Line Club, which my parents have been on for like the booster club for MSU hockey. Basically, they've done some watch parties. I'm hoping there's some watch parties somewhere. You can go like to a Reno's or Crunchy, something, so that if you're not paying your $10, you get some suds and make that way.
Yeah, put the $10 towards a giant janitor's bucket of beer at Crunchies. Like be smart with your money, folks. That's what we're looking for here. Jeremy, actually, I lied. That's not the last question. I want to hold you hostage here for a few more minutes, just because I just want to pick your brain on this. This might be a really dumb question. It might not be, but a lot is made in basketball season, and I feel like it's a conference by conference thing of what's more important, the regular season title or the tournament title. I'm talking the conference tournament, obviously the national title. I'm not that stupid, guys. For me, for basketball, it's like, you want the regular season banner infinitely more than you want like the tournament banner. But like, what's your thought on the hockey thing? Like, would you rather have the regular season banner or the Big Ten tournament banner? Because if you go to ACC country, like I feel like their fans prize the tournament more than they do the regular season. It's a weird discourse. But I just want your take on it for hockey.
So I would say with the way the Big Ten tournament is set up, like it's pretty far and away the regular season. Like I want that regular season title so much more. You played each team 4 times and you came out the number one. Like it's not even like, especially in hockey, it's not like the basketball where it's an unbalanced schedule. So you could win a regular season where you got a little lucky with the way your schedule broke. Like the way the schedule broke, you play every team 4 times, home and away. So if you can get through that whole season on top, it's pretty clear you were the number one team in the conference. So that's kind of the way I would go. Especially because now that they do the Big Ten tournament, the way it's set up is that when you get to the semifinals, it's one-off games. It's just one game semifinal, not a series, and then a one-game championship a week later. It's just like, you have a rough night in the semis and you're knocked out, right? Like it's not a series. It's not the same as like the NHL playoffs where you're like you played enough series that you feel like the best team got it. I will say though, hosting it at Munn could be pretty cool. So if we get to that point and we are in the championship game and it's hosted at Munn, like once you're there, let's win it.
Why not? Right. Why not?
But I think right now, regular season for sure. It's a fair schedule and it's just definitely, it means more for sure.
That's kind of where I'm at too. Like when it comes to basketball, it's like I'd rather have the banner that rewards you for a 20-game sample size than just a 3 or 4 day sample size. But again, there are fans that feel differently about it. Like I know the Big East, a lot of their fans say, "Oh, it's the tournament, man." So okay, fine, that's great. I don't agree with it, but hey, you don't have to agree on anything in life. So just wanted your take there on the hockey thing. Jeremy, this was delightful to take like 15 minutes and talk about a program that's actually making people smile, really mixing it up on this show here. Jeremy, this is nice to get out the door with a happy look on our faces. Yeah. Wow. God bless hockey. Let's go. Folks, we will be back. Jeremy, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'd love to drag you back here next weekend after the weekend wraps up. But we'll see. I know I'm putting you on the spot right there. You could just reject me when we hang up this call. That's okay. But folks, we will be back tomorrow. We'll probably talk basketball. We'll probably talk football. And Again, this is early Monday. I'm still so rattled from the weekend, man. But hey, this was nice. This was a nice conversation to get back to the right side of optimism here. So thank you so much, Jeremy. He does great work at Spartans Illustrated. All the folks at Spartans Illustrated do fantastic work. Folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. Go Green.